So now I'm sweating. Wait, don't go anywhere. Wait, I'll be right back.
I hit record. We'll just, and I love that she left us. Yes, I finally hit record. Oh, Jeffrey, yeah, what's with the brick wall? This isn't the Improv, my friend.
Sorry. Max, don't
I like that. That's cool. Did you make that yourself?
Uh-huh. And the gear.
Oh, that's good.
Nice.
You should sell those.
That's terrifying. Well, I'm excited to have Lois here because we're good. This is Mitzi's 90th birthday. I keep saying 60th because I think I'm dyslexic. I'm not sure what's happening.
She would have been 90 today?
Today would have been her 90th birthday.
She would have been lovely. She was like, I mean, she was a nut at 40. Imagine her 90. She would have been completely.
How old she was when you met her? 40.
She was, I met her in 1981. So how old was she? Like 45, something like that?
Probably.
Yeah, and she was great. She was dressed like a gypsy, and she had all the stuff in her hair all the time, and a whole bunch of glasses and dangles. She was like an old gay guy, and she was really great. Yeah, she was nice. But what I can't get over with her is how everybody knows her voice. Everybody who worked with her or knew her for 5 minutes can do that voice.
Oh, Jeffrey, just play the piano.
You're not funny.
You're not ready. I love when she say you're not ready. She said it to Howie Mandel once. Howie Mandel, you're not ready. I went, what are you, nuts? He's too crazy.
He's all over.
That's what made him, he's all over. You got to stop moving your hands. I remember when who did she tell in Las Vegas when we were working? Johnny Dark, and he would sweat profusely. He would get really nervous, and he would just pour with sweat. And he'd go on stage, and she finally said to him one night, Johnny, you got to stop sweating. And she was like, how am I going to stop sweating? He was so sweaty.
That probably made him sweat more.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. I just loved her, though. She was when she died, I was so horrified. I was like, God, I'm so far away from everybody. Aww. And to be this far away from California makes you kind of go, fuck, I had no chance to see her again old or see her sick. I would have loved to have gone to her house and made her laugh. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I missed that.
I was with her the day before she passed. Myself and Chump went over, and we were there with Peter and Scotty. Paulie was out on the road, but he was coming in that night.
Oh, God.
And sat and held her hand, and she couldn't really talk back then, but she squeezed your hand.
Yeah.
She knew it was there, and
God, you're so great going there. That's so good really that you did that. It must have been sad. It must have been really sad to see her like that, to see her.
It was. It really was. Yeah. In the hospital, I went to the hospital to see her like right before, and I walk in and Arsenio was in there making her laugh.
Wow. Really?
So the two of us are in there, and her caretaker put lipstick on her, because she loved her lipstick. But it was so, it was nice, but she was looking at us, but she was like, who the fuck are you two? Like, God bless her.
It's good that Arsenio finally made somebody laugh.
Right. Anyway, but you were pretty close with Mitzi. Like I always hear the stories about you guys you and Steve Moore being Peter and Paulie's caretakers.
Yeah, we took care of them. Bellini Drive. It was they had the worst education. And Mitzi we would do terrible things to them. I would take him to school. I would drop him off right in front of the school in Beverly Hills High School. And he would get really mad. He'd go, you have to go around the block. Go around the fucking block. I'd go, no. And I would smoke. And I had this big Cadillac with a really loud muffler. And I'd make them get out in the front and go, have a nice day, honey. And I'd yell at them. And the kids he was so embarrassed. Fuck you. I'm going to tell Mitzi. All right, tell Mitzi. I don't give a fuck. It was just screaming, yelling at each other. And I'd lock them out of the house, and we'd have parties. And it was so much fun. And Peter would yell at me and say, I don't need a comic to take care of me. And I say, you need a psychiatrist. And now he is one. It was just like, it was madness. And we'd have parties. And then Stevie's parents came I'll never forget this.
Oh,
Stevie's
yeah.
parents came, and they looked like something out of a what's that photographer's name who did really scary people? I can't think of her name. Arbus, Diane Arbus. They looked so weird. She had like a leopard skin coat and a big beehive, and his father had like a corduroy jacket on and pants that were too short. I mean, they both looked crazy. And they came and they drank out of big tea glasses with Coke and bourbon on the top. And they just drank themselves sick. And Mitzi came to the door at one point, and she said, "What's wrong with those people in there?" Like, she just didn't know, what the fuck? Who are these people? I said, "These are Stevie's parents." "Oh, that's a sitcom." Anything was a sitcom. Yeah. Her kids being treated badly, the weird parents, everything was a sitcom. Yeah, she was great to me. I mean, I did this game show, this horrible game show in 1983. And I don't know why I did it. I don't know who put me up for it, but I was like a Vanna White, but I was like the big lesbian Vanna White. And Mitzi bought me this $700 outfit from this store in Beverly Hills, this beautiful green, like, I don't know what it was, this green thing, pantsuit thing, but it was really hot and tight. And so I go on the show and I did terrible. I was farting the whole time because I was so nervous, and the outfit got really, really sweaty and bad. And Mitzi loved it. And then I went home and I washed it by accident, and it shrunk. So it was like the size of like a chamois to wipe your car. And she got really mad at me and said, "I was going to return that." And she couldn't return it. But like, just shit like that, you know, I just did nothing but cause her pain. Like, it was just.
But she loved you because you were real.
I guess so.
Jesus.
I guess she did. She was really good to me. I was very lucky, because I don't know if I would have had a career without her. Probably not. At least not there. I would have had to have come back to New York.
You were part of Meter Maids too, weren't you? Was it Meter Maids?
Yeah.
Is that what it was?
Beverly Hills, Meter Maids.
It was so bad. It was the worst thing I ever did in my whole career, was Meter Maids, and I can never forget it. It was horrible.
But you have to admit, she was like ahead of her time in those little vignettes, whatever you want to call them. But that was like, that's what everybody's trying to do now.
That's true.
It's so weird.
But Brian Bradley said the funniest thing yesterday. He said, "Do you remember when you did Meter Maids?" And we had a director who was really known for doing, he did all kinds of great sitcoms, but somehow she got him to direct this thing. And he would say, when he'd do close-ups, "I don't want close-ups because you're cutting their heads off with the close-ups." Like, she didn't know what a close-up was. Oh, it was great. I mean, she was so crazy. Yeah, she was really ahead of her time. And my relationship with her was amazing. But it's really funny because it's been such a long time since I've been to when did I leave the I left LA in 2001. Gone. I've been gone that long.
Okay.
So Mitzi, I don't remember. I didn't see Polly getting older. I didn't see Mitzi getting old and sick. And so, yeah, I don't have big emotional attachment to it. I just don't remember a lot of it because it's just too long ago.
Right.
That's more than nice. I remember not wanting to see my one grandmother in the hospital just before she passed, because I'd seen my other grandparents there, and that was the last memory. And now the last memory of my grandmother is when she was dressed up and, looked wonderful. So
that's the problem. I remember Mitzi's memory to me is sitting behind that desk in her office with all those photographs and wearing she always had her hair done in some big thing, and she just looked like an artist. Just looked like a mad scientist. And that's the way I remember her, and her glasses and I don't know, and her eyes. The thing I remember about her the most is she just had so much going on in her eyes and her face.
Yeah.
There was so much thought going on and so much whatever was happening. She was not in a daze ever. She was always on it and thinking and knew who you were and what you were saying, and if you were fooling or tricking her or saying something dishonest.
Well, she was so intuitive, so like if you were trying to pull something over on her, she immediately saw it. Yeah. And she would play it. She would play with it. She would
that's right. That's true.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, she was so smart, and she was good to me. So I remember her that way, and I know a lot of comics didn't like her, and a lot of comics got angry at her, and really during the whole strike thing, and after that was over, there there was comics that just never fucking, they just spoke. They just, in books, I read books where they just say shit about her still. And I just think, let it go, man. It's 40 years ago. Forget it. You got your 25 stinking bucks. And it's so, yeah, he got 25 bucks. I understand the battle, and the battle was good. And it was good they fought it. But, she still got rich from it. And then, so,
and so did a lot of comics, though.
Yeah, they all got their big shows and whatever. Yeah. Hey, whatever happened to Jimmy Brogan? He's still around, right?
Jimmy Brogan. Yeah, he's great.
He performs. I love him. I love Jim Brogan.
Yeah, I used to do shows with him at the Laugh Factory, at the Ice House.
You did?
Yeah, I'd always run into him. I love Jimmy Brogan. He's terrific.
Such a good comic. So now the comics now must be really good. I mean, the shows there are different, right? Isn't it different at the Comedy Store? You got lots of different, because Mitzi it was just like we just do our shows and go home, but it looks like it's really, you've got really great themes to your shows, right? Is it different?
I'll tell you, before the COVID thing shut us down, and I don't know if I've ever told you this, past couple of years, we still one continuous show in the original room.
Yeah.
Belly Room has 2 shows, 7 nights a week. The main room, 2 shows, 7 nights a week, sold out. We were just crazy,
it was wild.
On fire.
Wow.
It's been alive again a couple of years ago. Yeah.
Wow.
And I have to see that.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, because I always asked comics about the boom in the 80s and the difference. Yeah. And, we always compare the two, but it is just a little different now at the store. I wasn't there in the 80s, so I don't know. What did you think of the boom?
I don't know. In the 80s, it was, the thing was that everybody was there. Just tons of people were getting TV shows, and everybody was there developing their act. So it didn't seem like the boom then, but as you look back, you go, this was David Letterman was still performing at one point, and Michael Keaton would come in and do a set. So it was like Richard Pryor, a whole bunch of people would come in that were hugely famous and do sets and go home, and everything it felt ordinary, but it was just tons of really good, really great comedians all at the same time. That was the boom. So, I remember going on in the main room and 400 people. And it was just fucking, when you would kill, you would do it, you would have a great set. And it was just like, you wanted to die because it was so great. The stage was big, and going off the stage took a long time, and coming on the stage took a long time. And the room was really big, and the stage was huge. And that's what I loved about it. And honestly, I've never been in another comedy room with a stage as big as the main room. That main room stage was a phenomenal comedy club. Because in London, the stage that I was telling you about, it was small. You crawl up there and get past people. But once you get on the stage, it's fabulous. But you have to find it. And the Comedy Store made you feel like you were in a real showroom. It was so much fun. And the crowds were either great or they fucking hated you. So that's how it was. I love
that you say that, because that main room was her Vegas showroom. That was her. Yeah, she wanted all those big Vegas acts to come, like Rickles and, Buddy Hackett and all that. She wanted all that to be in the main room, to be her showroom. That. So now it's like when I perform in the main room, because of working so closely with Mitzi, I get nervous because I know what she expects.
What you saw it as. Yeah.
So
you're so fucking funny though. God, you're funny.
Oh,
Jeff, she's so funny.
Holy tried, shit. Jeffrey.
No, I watched your stuff today. I was like, oh my God.
We knew all along that she was funny. We knew all along. It's just
she's really, really good.
Yeah, she's a great comic.
So many funny women. And
I love you. You're one of my favorites.
You had to always defend yourself. In the 80s, it was kind of like you had to say, okay, there's 8 of us that are funny, and then there's 80 guys that are good, and maybe out of the 80 guys, there's 10 that are funny. So it was like you just couldn't put the men down. You couldn't say you're not fucking good. You had to sort of pretend everybody was good. In the meantime, you were
way better.
Like you're a piece of shit. Sometimes it happened. That's what happened in the 80s. And now I see women who are just like, they don't take any shit from anybody, and they're so good.
But it's you guys that paved the road, breaking shit down to me is, because when I would hear about you guys, like Carrie Snow told a story about how they would put the women in the belly room and to get developed, and then, so they could work downstairs amongst the men, if you will. but they got so strong, like Carl LeBeau and those guys told me that they would be like, hey, we want to come up here. And they would be like, go back downstairs, man. You know, like.
Yeah. The truth was, though, the belly room, I had a different view of the belly room. I hated it. I never went up there. I went up there twice. And I said to Mitzi once, I don't want to go up there. I don't want to be hidden away. I want to go in the main room. I don't see the guys in the fucking belly room. You know, I'll develop my act in my car. Okay. I don't need to go to the belly room. I can do it at home in my swimming pool when I've had too many bourbons. I don't need to do it in the fucking belly room. So she would say, well, you're not ready. I'd say, well, you're not ready. Oh, what do you mean? And then I'd do a set and it would be great. And she'd say, okay, because I hated that. I hated the idea that the men, I mean, she was a little boy crazy. She was.
Yeah, sure.
And so I figured that was her thing. She loved the boys and she wanted to be the only chick, you know, on the block. But I pushed her really hard, and so did other comics. Other female comics said to her, I'm not doing this room. But I understand now after things developed in the comedy world that you can go and do a small room and get really good. I get that. But then it wasn't like that. Then you felt like you were being left out. That's what it felt like.
I agree with that. But I happen to love the belly room. It's one of my favorite rooms, but
probably now it's good. Yeah.
Sure. But back then I could understand being like, no, I'm just as good as them. Put me in there.
Yeah. Stupid.
I would have been leading that brigade with you. Like, no,
that was great. Yeah. And then I would just go in the main room. But yeah, those days were really, God, it just is amazing. I'm so happy to be part of it. And I was thinking about, I said to my partner, I said, I can't believe there's people who will never know her. There's comics in that club who will walk through those doors and never know this incredible person who made this club possible. Never.
Yeah.
You'll only see her sons, you know, her old sons. And it's okay, but it's just not her. You know what I mean? So,
well, her sons, it's hard because I blame their guardians. You were the guardians.
we destroyed their lives. We made Thanksgiving dinner for them once. I said, we're going to make you guys a Thanksgiving dinner. Well, we never have Thanksgiving. I know you're Jewish, but it's nothing to do with Thanksgiving. So I made a turkey and I made stuffing, and we invited a whole bunch of drag queens and a whole bunch of gay guys over. And Peter and Polly just sat at the table just staring. And this huge queen friend of Stevie's kept going, darling, when you get older, call me. Call me. Kept saying that to Polly. And it was great because Polly's trying to choke back some dried chicken and gravy. And I was such a bad cook. It was just priceless. There were like 10 people at the table. And it was a great life lesson. And later, Polly said to me, that was such a great dinner. It was terrible. Like 10 years later, he thought, that was so nice of you, Lois. I'm like, yeah, okay.
Wait, so you guys went to court to become their legal guardian?
We did. Now I feel like the drunk lady on the show. You know what else I hate?
No.
You know what's fucked up? Now I feel like Karen. Hey, you motherfuckers. Fuck you and your fucking fuck. That's when you know you can't think of another word, so you just keep saying fuck. Yeah. What did you ask me now? I am her.
You were telling me about
What's this, a TV show? Or what?
It's a sitcom, Lois. Get on board.
Lois is an alcoholic. No, I'm not, Mitzi. I'm not. Even in death, I can reach you. Go ahead.
But you said you went to court with Mitzi, and I had to do that numerous times. So
we went to court. We went to court to become her legal guardians. And Mitzi was wearing a big, thing on her head and looked like a gypsy. And the kids were dressed like they just murdered some people. They had weird pants on, tight at the bottom, and the shoes were dirty, and they looked mad. And I just looked like a hooker. I looked like a gay hooker. And Stevie just looked like my piano player. He was the piano player for the hooker. I mean, it was just weird. He had tap shoes on. How you're going to court with tap shoes on? And he had like a white tie, and he was like this, all happy. And I just looked pissed, like I'd smoked a whole bunch of cigarettes. And the judge looked at us like, what is this? Like, what are you doing here? And Mitzi said, so I need a legal guard. I told the story why they have to live in Beverly Hills, go to the school, and this is low. And the judge listened to the whole story. Then he looked at us and he said, do you know what this is a big responsibility? And I said, yeah, I know. It's a big responsibility. It was so awful. And then he said to Mitzi, why do you think these two can do it? Because they're funny. That was the reason. That was the reason. Because we're funny, and therefore we can be parents to your children. I don't get it. And the judge just kind of went, okay, you know what? Your kids are going to die. That's all I can tell you. I'm not going to make
it. But he okayed it.
Exactly. Horrible. So that was it. And then all of a sudden we have to take care of them and write them. I'd write them notes for school. One time the teacher called, the principal called and said, hello, I would like to speak to the person in charge. And I'm thinking, I don't know who that is. But I said, okay. Paulie hasn't been at school for 3 days. And I went, you're kidding. What the fuck? And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? He hasn't been to school for 3 days? Excuse me? No, I mean, no, that's bad. That's terrible. Okay, well, I'm fine. No answer. I called Mitzi at the Comedy Store. Mitzi, where's Pauline? I don't know. She's a mother. I said, Steve, we got to go find the kids. So we drove around. We tried to look for them. We went to places we thought they'd be. We couldn't find them.
Oh,
we were so freaked out. Went for 2 days. We couldn't find them. And finally, he just came home. And I said, what the fuck? Where were you? I went home, and I guess nobody knew I was home. It was hard. I had to call. I had to take him to school. I had to talk to the teacher. She said, who are you? I said, I'm the legal guardian. Where's his mother? I don't know. Like, it was awful. It was truly horrible. But, you know, they survived. And we
survived it. And the next time somebody says to me, hey, Peter and Paulie are kind of mean, I'm going to say, well, you know, they had some shit go on.
That's right. You can say, just blame the Moors.
Blame the Moors. Lois
yeah,
helped me with the kids.
No, she was a good mom. No, I wasn't. 24. Oh, I was in Vegas once, and this was years ago, and I was walking through in Las Vegas, and I hear this big, loud voice. Hey, you big dyke, really loud. Of course, I turned around because it's got to be me they're talking to. And it was Paulie with his little entourage of women. He was performing there somewhere, and he introduced me as his second mother to these hookers, whoever they were. And they were like, yeah, whatever. We just want to suck your dick and get some money. And it was just whatever. It was awful. And I said, yeah, I was his second mother.
I love that he yelled, hey, you big dyke.
Like, hey, you big dyke. People looked and guys, everybody looked who looked like a big dyke. Yeah, Paulie's crazy. I sometimes I tweet with him a little bit, but he says the same stuff he said when he was, 12. So he's not any different. It's weird. He never really got past
I think that's the beauty of him is like he doesn't grow up. Like he's still this kind of young kid trapped in this older body, but like still living life and having fun. I mean, he seems to be like having so much fun. What?
Is he still come to the store? Is he there?
Did it work?
Yeah. Does he live?
When he's not on the road, he'll come in.
Yeah.
But they're not running the store. Somebody else is, right? A bunch of people are running it.
Peter. Well, I mean, Peter is our big boss, but then we have a wonderful management team. We have an operations manager, and the camaraderie amongst the employees, and Eleanor can attest to this.
Unbelievable.
That's really good.
They've taken us on like a group picnic. We all went bowling together, which is silly, but never done before. And people love working there now. The girls are making money.
Well, you know what? They should be. That's really good. I'm really glad. So listen, I have to go.
Okay, but promote your book real quick. Promote your book, please.
The book is called My Dirty Life in Comedy, and it's a memoir. I mean, it's a memoir, and it's just filled with dirt and filth. I talk about posing naked. I talk about all the guys who wanted to fuck me. I talk about my stand-up. I talk about my being gay and trying to come out of the closet and not being able to do it on stage. And then talk about a lot of celebrities I met. Warren Beatty following me through the whole Warren Beatty thing and his eczema. He's got like really bad eczema on his. I mean, it's really just one absurd, crazy fucking story after another. Yeah. And just jealous girlfriends and taking a bath with this guy in Vegas that I don't, it's a lot. So anyway, it's good. It's a lot.
I'm excited about it. So,
yeah, you got to read it.
Social media, where do they find it?
It's on Facebook. You can go to my Facebook page and see it, loisbromfield.com. But I also, I'm going to do it. It's going to come out on Audible in September. I didn't get a publisher because everybody was afraid to publish it because it's pretty dirt. It's just nobody knows who I am. So it's just, they're like, what's this? One publisher loved it, but he said, it's too gritty for us. And I thought, okay, well, go back to children's books. But anyway, so yeah, just check it out. But I'm going to put it on, it's going to be everywhere. I'm going to put it out there. It's already a little bit advertised, but when it comes out on Audible, I'm so excited to read it myself, to be able to read the book myself.
Yeah.
I'm so happy. to be able to do that. So I'm going to
Well,
do it in Munich. There's this amazing recording studio there. So
and if you do it, it would be even more hilarious.
don't you think it'd be better, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
you know your story. So
I don't want somebody else to read. I don't want, what's his name, like some serious person reading it. Can you imagine?
Can
Then
you-
I took my clothes off and I hadn't shaved my pussy. No. I can't do that. It's got to be, can't have shaved my pussy.
you
but it's
are
gotta be-
amazing. Thank you.
Thank
I'm
you very
honored
much.
to talk to you.
I don't know how you're going to use this because I say pussy and fuck about 3,000 times, but
It doesn't matter. It's YouTube.
oh, even better.
Yeah.
You guys are great. You're funny as hell. You are so fucking funny and good.
That means the
It's
world
nice
to
to
me.
see Jeff Scott's face. Finally, I love him. And thank you very much for letting me vent.
Thank you. Thank you so much for coming on. I
Thanks,
greatly
guys.
appreciate it.
Stay funny. You're hysterical. Bye.
Can't wait to read your book.
Bye.
Love you.
Bye. Bye, you guys. Mwah. Bye.
Bye.
Bye,
Mwah.
Jeffrey. Thank you, Jeffrey
Bye.
Scott.
Thank you for inviting me. I had a great time. It was so great to see Lois and see you. I haven't seen you for months.
It's been forever.
Are you in LA?
I am.
Are you in LA?
You can't
Oh,
tell
that's
by
right.
the shitty kitchen. Yeah, I'm hoping to add this to what we record tonight. If not, I'll just put it up separately. But it's, you know, we'll put it on the Comedy Store podcast because, you know, I'm tech not savvy. So we're going to figure it out. But Jeff Scott, our house pianist, for how long have you been at the store?
24. December 9th, I'll start my 25th year.
Wow.
Crazy. I never thought I'd have I knew I had a career. I've always had a career in entertainment, but it was, you know, gig to gig to gig, like a comic.
Yeah.
And to have a place that's like home and, you know, it's just, and to have so many comics have called and messaged me and checked it. Big name people that I think, well, they only met me a few times, and here I am getting the call from them, and they're like, "You need groceries? Can I do anything for you?" Everybody is just, you know, been really great. And there's so many more people that are worse off through this. We're able to, and I think the comics are really emerging and taking over, going to Zoom and YouTube.
Yeah.
And
we're trying.
Facebook. You know, it's not the same as a show, but at least you're keeping your
face out there.
Right. And keeping your timing up, keep the chops going.
Yeah. But this is what I wanted to ask you, because when I first started, it was Steve Moore. So did Steve Moore hire you? And Steve Moore was married to Lois. They got married. We only brushed on that a little bit because her stories are so funny. And but Steve Moore was my hero. Like, he made me laugh every day. But did he hire you?
Feel that energy. I became before I was working at the store. I became friends with Taylor Negron through my sketch comedy group. And so I went to one of Steve's parties at his cabin as Taylor's guest.
Okay.
Met him, met a bunch of people from the store. I think I might have been playing at the Improv for Penny Wiggins' Sirens of Satire at that point. We did that like once a month, I did 2 years of that. Anyway, Steve was my reference when Taylor told him that he was like, "Oh, well, you ought to come work at the store." And when there finally was an ad for Hollywood Nightclub Needs Pianist, I'm like, well, I don't cheat read. You know, this is probably Michelli's. I'm not a lounge piano player. I play by ear and stuff. A couple of months went by, and I thought, well, I'm just going to call. Sure, yes. I mean, a couple of weeks. And they're like, Comedy Store. And I ended up talking to Mike Becker, who was just Mitzi and Mike Becker, VP. And he said, we've already hired a couple guys, but I'll keep your name. And I said, you know, Steve Moore voucher, and he's like, oh, well, wish you'd called sooner. and then I, for the first time in my life, did temp work for about 8 months, 9 months, something like that. Just answering phone. It's all I'm qualified to do. And this one day I came in, it was a week before Christmas, 2 weeks before my birthday, and they said, today's your last day. I'm like, well, okay, at least I can pay the bills through the end of the year, and January's covered and stuff. Came home, and there was only one message on the answering machine, and it was, Mike Becker from the Comedy Store, would you give me a call, please? And asked if I would be interested in playing piano at the club. And I came in and I started, and it was just like one night a week. It was Sunday was open mic. But it was, you had to start on open mic, which is just, every 3 minutes.
A nightmare.
Oh,
it's a nightmare.
Thankless show for, a piano player. But I quickly, and I mean quickly, within like a year or 2 years, I was in the main room subbing, and then became the full-time pianist as people retired. So yeah, December start 25 years, which
what?
Insane.
That's so crazy.
It's not real. Doesn't sound real.
Because it's such
and I'm still so young.
Oh, yes, you are. Yes, you are. It's such a big part of the show. It's such, like, the pianist, it's such a big part, like, just that, like, everybody could play a song, to go up to. It's such a old school kind of feel, and it was such a, especially, like, in the main room back in the day when they had that piano. That was...
Right, you were almost part of the show sometimes, and certain guys would use you like that. Like with
on the road.
Kip Agata, how Kip would, yell at me and throw stuff at me, or, with Freddie Stubble would talk to me while he was on stage opening, and and even now, if a comic, maybe a joke doesn't land well, they can say something shitty about the piano player in the corner, get the audience laughing, and suddenly they're having a good set again.
Yeah, they turn it all around.
Yeah, or I'll say something stupid. On occasion, I've thrown in a few zingers, and I can't think what I said, but I know sometime last year I answered Gerard Carmichael said something on stage and asked me what my opinion was, and whatever I said, he dropped the mic. It floored him because I just didn't think he didn't think the old white guy was going to be that hip. And again, I can't remember what I said, but it was just the perfect.
I love it because you pay attention and you're smart and you're funny and you're like listening to all this comedy all night long. So of course, when somebody throws something at you, you got something in your back pocket to throw right back at them, which I love.
I've made my entire livelihood, 31 years almost, in entertainment, whether it was piano or a dreaded mime. I was a very well-known professional, Cleveland's best-known mime, or, doing musical theater or TV commercials, hand modeling, building cast. I've done so many weird things. But the one thing that was the constant was I kept working with comics.
Yeah.
And all the roads were just leading to Mitzi's Club.
I love it. Well, I'm thrilled you're there. And I think you're right about the camaraderie of the employees. It's everyone is so, like, when I see a waitress at the Comedy Store, I'm like, hi, like I get so excited. Last night I went in and Hart was there and I almost started crying. I was like, oh my God. Like our bartender I was there when Hart got hired by Mr. Pete. Like he was this little baby that just came in, and it's just sweet. And a lot of people stayed on. And unfortunately, when Mitzi was around, she would fire people quickly. She would get annoyed with people quickly. So I was going to say that to Lois. Can you imagine Mitzi taking us on a bowling trip or on a, let's go on a picnic? What? No, like.
What are you, nuts? I'm not paying for that shit. Take your own damn trip.
She had a Christmas party a couple million times, but the one time I remember in the belly room, and she goes, don't you have one of those real, what you people listen to on Christmas?
Christmas,
you people. And then I go, I said, that's rude, Mitzi, but yes, I do. I'll get it in a minute. I went to my car and I got a cassette tape. And it was the Carpenters. I had a Carpenters Christmas. Oh, this is perfect. You people love this stuff.
Well, she always had the Christmas tree in the lobby in the main room, which we still do.
Always.
Why? We didn't never had a Hanukkah bush.
She had her own Hanukkah bush, yes. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Ridiculous.
Well, I love you, Jeff Scott. Thank you so much. Now I just have to figure out how to upload this, and maybe I'll be ready by tonight's show.
We'll see. We'll see. Yeah, sorry it took me a little time. Wait, you sent a text to my phone, but I'm using my tablet. So that's where it took me a second why I couldn't. The link wouldn't open.
Yeah, I sent the email.
Yeah, so and then I realized it had the ID number that I needed to enter on the tablet in that email with the password there. So, and then when I turned on it was so great to do this.
I love
so
seeing you. You look
Mm.
amazing. And if you need anything, I'm around the corner, you know.
Okay, you
Okay.
too, but don't be important. Yeah, my gray stools.
My little goat hairs are coming in. I'm just kidding.
Oh, keep it to yourself. Love you, baby.
Love you. Bye.